There lived a couple in the peaceful village of Ayetoro, a humble and culturally rich town, nestled along the banks of a sacred river. For many years, Baba and Iya Adebiyi lived together in good health, harmony, and prosperity. But with one painful void, they had no child. Their home was filled with laughter, but no footsteps of a child. They shared meals, but no little hands reached for the bowl. When village children played under the moonlight, Baba Adebiyi would watch in silence, longing for the day he could hear someone call him Baba Mi. After years of herbs, prayers, and sacrifices to no avail, they decided to visit Yemoja, the goddess of fertility and motherhood. She who dwells in the deep, dancing among the currents of life. At dawn, aware of the risks and honor of such a visit, they journeyed to the river, pouring out their hearts. Yemoja, mother of many waters, we seek not wealth nor power, but a child. Even if just one, we are growing old. Look upon us with mercy. The water stirred. A gentle wind brushed Yadebi's face, and a quiet voice rose from the depth of the river like soft thunder wrapped in silk. Your plea is heard. I will bless you with a child, a powerful child. But take this warning. Do not make her cry. Do not harden her heart. For if you ever cause her true sorrow, hardship will follow. And whoever angers her in wickedness will reap bitter suffering. They bowed deeply, grateful but humbled by the sacred charge. Months later, Iya Debiyi conceived, and in due time she gave birth to a baby girl with eyes bright like moonlit waters. They named her Omotolani, the child who belongs to wealth, grace, and destiny. And from the day she took her first steps, the whole village knew this was no ordinary child. Everyone in Ayetoro loved Omotolani. Parents used her as an example for their kids. Even elders nodded in admiration when she greeted with both knees on the ground, face full of light and humility. Life was perfect until love drew attention, and jealousy, like a serpent in the grass, struck. As Omotolani blossomed into a young woman, her grace and beauty grew with her. Gentle spirits. Her smile could calm a troubled heart, and her laughter, light as God's seed in a calabash, echoed through the village. Even the sons of neighboring villages would travel to Ayetoro just to catch a glimpse of her as she fetched water or greeted elders at the market square. Among all those who admired her, one stood apart. Prince Aderemi, the son of the Oba, tall, handsome, and well groomed. The prince had heard countless tales of Omotolani, not just of her beauty, but her kindness, her humility, her rare glow. Upon seeing her for the first time, his heart settled in a quiet certainty. He wanted her, not as a passing fancy, but as his queen. Yet Omotolani paid him little attention. She was polite to him, but distant. Her heart was calm and full, and she took no pride in being admired. But the prince was persistent. He sent gifts, composed songs in her honor, and would stop by her family home under the guise of royal inspection just to share a word with her. Eventually, her heart softened, and the village rejoiced. The Oba's son and the favored daughter of Ayetoro were to be betrothed. Drums rolled, women ululated in the open square. Even the river seemed to hum. But not everyone rejoiced. Among Omotolani's age mates, her so-called friends, envy brewed like sour palm wine. Abike, Morukeji, and Ajoke, her closest companions while growing up, were secretly consumed with bitterness. How is it that Omotolani gets everything? Abike fumed. Everyone loves her, Morukeji added. Even our mothers say, why can't you be like Omotolani? And now Ajoke sighed, the prince, the one all maidens dream of. What charm does she have? Though they kept up appearances, laughing with her, attending her bridal preparations, in the dark corners of market gossip and midnight whispers, plots were forming. Yet Omotolani, pure in heart, never suspected a thing. She joyfully shared her news with them. She held nothing back, her doubts, her fears, her love for the prince, believing they were truly happy for her. Soon the marriage was celebrated with grandeur. She became the jewel of the palace. The prince loved her deeply, and she, in time, grew to love him just as much. But her attention shifted from her friends to her home, her husband, her new role. Her priorities changed naturally, but her friends took offense. She has forgotten us, Abike muttered. She thinks she's better than us now, Ajoke scoffed. They decided it was time to humble Omotolani, and so began a silent war. a web of lies, manipulation, and jealous schemes. At first, the plans seemed harmless. Petty acts born from bruised pride, they would gossip behind her back, roll their eyes in her presence, refuse to answer greetings properly. But when Omotolani did not get provoked, they began to take things further. They would visit her at the palace to check on her, but secretly studied the way her husband treated her. They began to notice little things, how the prince always wanted her home early, how he didn't like when she walked alone or stayed too long in the village square. And that's where the seed of betrayal took root. They began inviting her out more frequently. Omotolani, let's go to the marketplace together, Abike would suggest. Come and see the new fabrics at the dyer's shop, Morukeji would insist. Sometimes they would say no more than, we miss you, you don't visit anymore. Even though palace life was demanding and she cherished her time with Prince Aderemi, Omotolani didn't want to hurt her friends. She still felt she owed them loyalty. So she began making time again. She would sneak out to laugh with them, sit under the agbalumo tree, eat roasted corn just as they used to before she became a royal wife. But the meetings were not what they appeared. Abike, Morunkeji, and Ajoke would intentionally delay her, keep her longer than was reasonable, then vanish suddenly, leaving her alone to walk home at dusk. Worse still, they would go to the palace after pretending they were worried. Greetings, Kabiesi's son. Is Omotolani back yet? They went to meet her but didn't see her. Prince Aderemi's countenance would fall. He began to wonder, how long has she begun going out? With whom? Why does she say nothing? Meanwhile, Omotolani would arrive home from these outings unsuspecting, only to meet her husband with a cold stare and a clenched jaw. She didn't understand why he had suddenly become quiet and distant. He didn't ask her, she didn't know how to answer. Once they planned a gathering at the stream. They told her they just wanted to relax like old times, to wash their feet in cool water, share stories, and laugh like they used to. Touched by their gesture, Omotolani happily agreed. She dressed simply without palace ornaments and walked with eager hope towards the stream, believing her friends wanted to reconnect. But when she arrived the place was empty. She waited and waited. She sat by the smooth stones watching the water flow, her heart beginning to ache with confusion. The sun traveled across the sky, shadows deepened, and still no one came. Her friends never intended to show up. They only wanted her to linger and come home late. By the time Omotolani returned towards the palace, it was already nightfall. Palace guides met her with raised eyebrows. She walked in, and her husband, who had waited anxiously, stared at her with coldness instead of concern. Her husband's voice was sharp. For the first time, he raised it at her. You spent the night at the river, he asked bitterly. Her heart broke. She tried to explain, but he turned away. The next morning, he walked past her without greeting. She began to cry quietly in the palace chambers. She cried because her love doubted her. She cried because she felt cut off, isolated, and misunderstood. What no one realized was that with every silent tears she shed, the warning of Yemoja was being activated. That week, the royal band caught fire in the night. The prince's yam business failed. Buyers stopped coming. The horses fell ill, and even his personal staff began to whisper superstitions. People started saying perhaps the prince's wife has brought him bad luck. And though she heard the whispers, she kept silent. The pain continued. Her husband started avoiding her, sleeping in other quarters. Omotolani, who once glowed like morning light, dimmed into a pale shadow. But the goddess of the river was watching. Things grew worse day by day. Prince Aderemi, once a cheerful and respectful young man, now walked with restless eyes and heavy steps. He barely spoke to anyone. His thoughts were clouded with doubts and frustration. Omotolani, silent and heartbroken, withdrew into herself. She walked the palace halls like a ghost. Once the pride of Ayetoro, now the subject of murmurs. She brought him ruin. Her face is sweet, but her spirit is heavy. Meanwhile, her old friends Abike, Morunkeji, and Ajoke watched with secret satisfaction. But as the misfortune spread beyond the prince to the entire household, even they began to sense a deeper unseen force at play. One morning, as Omotolani sat alone by the palace courtyard, her father, Baba Adebiyi, arrived unexpectedly. He was troubled. He had heard whispers, stories, and rumors swelling through Ayetoro. He could no longer stay silent. He asked for an audience with the prince. When Prince Aderemi entered the inner room and saw Baba Adebiyi waiting, he bowed politely, but his eyes were blank and cold. The elder cleared his throat. My son, I did not come to accuse you. I came to speak with a father's burden. He told the prince everything, from the day they cried to Yemoja to the goddess warning. We were told clearly, Omotolani is a powerful child. She must never be made to cry from sorrow. If she cries with a wounded heart, hardship will follow. And if anyone causes her pain out of wickedness, that person will suffer. At first, the prince said nothing, but as Baba Adebiyi spoke, suddenly the room grew colder. The air thickened. A strange wind blew, rattling the wooden shutters, even though the day was still. And then a soft whisper filled the room, rising like a melody from the riverbed. The river remembers her tears. The earth hears her silence. The heart that injures grace will reap sorrow without end. Prince Aderemi froze, goosebumps rising all over his body. He remembered how Omotolani had cried, how he had turned away, how he chose rumors over love, how he never asked for her side of the story. His eyes widened with sudden realization that Omotolani's friends were not genuine. The curse was not just a tale, it was unfolding because of him. That same afternoon, Prince Aderemi called the village gathering. Even the Oba attended, sensing that something strange was gripping the palace. In the presence of the elders, Omotolani's friends were summoned. They confronted Ajoke could no longer hold back her voice, trembled as she spoke. We didn't mean for it to go this way. We only wanted to make her feel small. We made her stay out late on purpose. We lied. We wanted her to suffer. Gasps echoed across the courtyard. Eyes turned towards Omotolani, whose quiet, wounded face had held no hatred. Prince Aderemi stood up, his voice shaking. I have sinned against a pure heart. I have forgotten the value of the woman God and Yemoja placed in my care. I doubted my own wife and brought curses upon us all. He fell to his knees before Omotolani, the entire village watching in silence. Forgive me, he whispered, not as a prince, not as a man, but as the one who broke your heart. Omotolani, moved by mercy, placed her hand on his shoulder. Aderemi, I never wanted anything but peace. If forgiveness brings healing, I offer it without bitterness. A cool breeze blew across the compound, carrying the faint scent of river water and palm oil. From that moment, the curse lifted. The yam band regained its strength. Buyers returned. The villagers felt restoration and joy. As for her jealous friends, they were given a year of service in the palace and the river shrine to cleanse their spirit and learn humility. And Omotolani, she became a symbol of forgiveness and divine grace. A proverb rose across Ayetoro. Be careful how you treat the child of destiny. Her tears are not ordinary. They can either water blessings or flood misfortune.